We're live. Are we live now? Ron Calgill, Mighty House, and we're back in the house that we started a test on about 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago. Joe from Inside Properties was here. What we did in the beginning was, before we started the remodel, we put in a blower door test. We wanted to see how leaky the house was before. How was the house before we started?
So, with the initial test, we were looking at 4,000 cubic feet per minute of air, 4,000 CFM, which is about 11.8 air changes in an hour with that fan going.
So all the air in that house was going out and being replaced 11 times an hour.
Yeah, almost 12 times in an hour.
Almost 12 times an hour.
And new home standards are 5. And
in Illinois.
In Illinois, new home standards are no more than 5 air changes at 50. And with the addition, you guys cut the leakage in half, so we're at 1990, down from 4,000, and that air changes per hour at 50 is down at 4.9. So new home standards, you guys satisfied new home standards by putting on 400 square feet and 4,000 cubic feet of volume,
right?
And you still were able to knock that building leakage by more than half.
So we took a 1950s house, and we didn't remodel the whole thing. We just added this kitchen and a master bedroom upstairs, but we brought it into current standards for energy efficiency. So you can see originally, this is where, right here, this is where the door used to be, and so we'll walk back down here now. So you can see the additional space we've added, and so now we have a blower door test here. We were running this, and a couple of things that we did was we still used 2x4 framing. We used air sealed everything on the outside. We spray foamed with about 3 inches of closed cell foam. And then before we drywalled, we caulked all the baseboards, all the top plates, went around and kind of caulked everything in. I think one thing we should have done was, had you come back before the drywall was up, we probably could have found a little bit more and done a better job. So next time, we're going to have you out before the drywall goes up. But you know how the job goes, things moving, you're clicking, and all of a sudden, drywall is here, like, didn't call Joe. Next time we'll call Joe.
You're getting the attaboy for doing a great job. So it always could be better, but you guys did a great job.
So
great job.
There is crawl space underneath here also. That is also air sealed and insulated with closed cell foam, just to tighten things up. And then we went around the house as we had things open and tried to seal things up that we could find as we were going along. And when we did the test, we walked around with the thermal gun just now. We found some other areas that the homeowner then can take on at their own time and repair.
Yeah, the existing home still has some areas that can be addressed, and they're going to feel it. They're going to feel like, hey, this addition here is nice and comfy warm. We're keeping outside out and inside in. And on the other side of the house where work hadn't been done yet, outside's getting in and you're feeling it on the lower floors, and it's, conditioned air's creeping out still through the attic. So there's still some room for improvement up front of this house. But
and then at what point do they need to start adding makeup air? The inspectors told us to put it in, so we're going to be putting it in just because of the hood fan, not because we tested the house. So they don't know the air changes per hour. They just know that the code says hood fan over 400 CFM, I need makeup air. That's all they know. And so they're requiring it, but at what point would someone really want to test this and make sure they're using makeup air?
Yeah, so there's a calculation that needs to be done, so there's not a really quick rule of thumb. Generally, and there's no atmospherically vented appliances, no furnaces or water heaters that vent through a metal pipe. Those are a challenge. Those are last century's equipment.
Yeah.
And you can't put a 20th century piece of equipment in a 21st century building enclosure and expect it to work. So that's the big challenge with folks. We can't use last decade's equipment in a current building enclosure. If the building enclosure is advanced, the heating and equipment has to be advanced as well. So there's no combustion safety risk. They're power vent water heater, direct vent furnace. That is just to keep the place from depressurizing. The makeup air would allow air in to balance out what's getting sucked out by that fan.
Right.
If they want it, they get it, but there's no safety reason to do that other than, if there was a attached garage, you could be sucking garage air in every time that range hood's on. But if we don't have an attached garage, we don't have, old natural draft appliances, so there's really no carbon monoxide
major risk.
But
if somebody was hitting, at what point is it required? If somebody was doing this on their own and just starting to go around an air seal.
When you start hitting new home standards, so when you start hitting that 5 air changes, you know, with the blower door going, you're right on the bubble there.
So it is pretty good. We're close to meeting requirement.
And with new home standards, they pretty much said if your building satisfies our leakage allowance, then you've got to be incorporating fresh air exchange. Not to balance out a range hood, but just to make sure
Just in general.
we've boxed out Mother Nature. She doesn't get to change air in the house anymore, so we have to do that mechanically. And there's a lot of,
but now we control what gets in, what goes out, and where it comes in and comes
as
out.
much as you want, when you want it.
Yeah.
You can shut it off. You know, when you don't need it, you can run full boat when you've got a bunch of people over and you really need that ventilation, or something else is going on in the house. You need to flush the air out. And there's scheduled systems, there's on-demand systems, so you can have air quality monitors that turn it on when it needs it and turns it off when it doesn't. Right. So there's a lot of neat advancements there, but that's the other side of it. We're comfortable, we're efficient, we got to make sure we still get fresh air exchange in the house, and we have to do that mechanically sometimes.
Well, I appreciate your time, Joe. Thank you, as
Great
always.
job.
We'll see you on the next job.
Great.
And we'll see you on the radio. Talk to you later.